Bühne unser VP für Global Research and Development, DaBell.
Guten Tag. Schön bei uns zu sein. How did I do? I've used all the German that I know. I want to thank Matthias Kuchar, who is translating for me today. He has the hardest job of anybody. So thank you, Matthias. This is my first Germany Day. Who else here is the first time due for Germany Day? There's a bunch of you. This is a fantastic event, and I've enjoyed getting to meet and to talk with many of you, to get to know you. This is such a wonderful crowd. We talk about doTERRA being a tremendous force for good in all of the world. And this is true. But the reason that this is true is because each of you is a tremendous force for good in the world. So I want to say thank you for your efforts to bless those around you. It makes the world a better place. Before we get into the discussion about VMG and what it took to create VMG and some of the stories behind this product, I wanted to begin by talking about one of our most beloved essential oils, peppermint essential oil. We love peppermint oil. It's one of the most versatile essential oils that we have. One of the reasons I love to talk about peppermint oil is because it demonstrates the power of essential oil chemistry. When we use peppermint oil, when we breathe it in, it binds, the menthol in peppermint binds to olfactory receptors, and it stimulates electrical activity in our brains. When we use that same peppermint oil with menthol on our skin, the menthol binds to receptors in our skin and causes sodium to flow into the neuron, to the nerve in our skin, and we feel a cooling sensation. And when we use peppermint internally, that same menthol will go and bind to receptors in the smooth muscle of our digestive tract, causing calcium to flow in and relax the smooth muscle. And I share this information about peppermint oil for a couple of reasons. One reason is to remind us of the power of essential oil chemistry. The other reason is to remind each of us about the experience that we've had with essential oils. I imagine if I asked any one of you the first experience that you ever had with an essential oil, you could remember this experience. And when we set out to design VMG, we wanted to create this type of an experience with a product that people would be able to enjoy and to remember. When I'm able to visit with people all around the world, we hear from individuals about the healthy lifestyle choices that they're making, the efforts that they're doing to make the right daily choices, but they still share that they're feeling fatigued. Maybe they're feeling like their immune system is weak. They're not quite living as high a quality of life as they would like to be. And when we hear this and we understand that there's a gap in just surviving and then truly thriving with a high quality of life, my team and I began to ask, what can we do to help close this gap? And this brought us to build a blueprint for a new product. And that blueprint became a mission. And the mission eventually developed into what we now have today as VMG. Now, before we get into the solution, what is VMG providing to us each day? I want to review the problem that we're solving for. Because when we can understand the why for a product, it helps us better understand the solution. So I want to take a moment and describe part of the problem that VMG is addressing. When we look at history and nutritional science through history, I want to share a couple of stories really quickly about how we first learned that micronutrients are truly indispensable, required for good health. When we look through history, we can think of sailors who would set off on expeditions all around the world. They would look to be explorers, to establish trade routes, to expand their horizons. And these sailors would go out on ships. And even though they had a lot of courage and a lot of skill, oftentimes they lacked the dietary nutrients that they needed, and specifically vitamin C. So these sailors would suffer because they were lacking the micronutrient vitamin C. And this is known as scurvy. In a different situation, in the American South, individuals were subsisting on largely a corn-based diet. Now, the corn kept them alive, but it lacked an important micronutrient in vitamin B3, niacin. And because this population was lacking in their vitamin B3, they developed a disease known as pellagra. And this showed up as diarrhea and dementia, and even in some cases, it led to death. Once these populations began to consume vitamin B3, the problems resolved almost overnight. Now, today's micronutrient deficiencies, they're not so dramatic as these disease states, such as scurvy or rickets or pellagra. Instead, today, when we have micronutrient deficiencies, they show up a little more quietly. They show up, in our experience, on a daily basis with weaker immunity, or maybe a little bit more brain fog, or maybe less energy. These are the quiet ways that micronutrient deficiency shows up today. And this is a problem that is widespread throughout the world, with up to 80% of adult populations suffering from some form of micronutrient deficiency. Now, it's not all about lifestyle choices, because we can make good lifestyle choices, but today's food sources are lacking important nutrients that we should be getting from the diet, but because of the way agriculture has been incentivized, they're producing larger fruits and vegetables that unfortunately have lower nutritional content. So today we consume more calories but fewer nutrients, and this introduces a gap. And this gap is pretty well established throughout populations. Certain nutrients, people will have over 90% of the population is experiencing a deficiency. For example, vitamin D, vitamin E, these are widely experienced micronutrient deficiencies. And when we lack these micronutrients, we are lacking the instructions that our body needs to repair itself, to activate different enzymes, to turn on different metabolic pathways. Food and nutrients are more than just sustenance. They are instructions for our bodies. They tell our biology how to function properly. They're catalysts. So, after we recognize that there's this widespread deficiency for micronutrients, we wanted to set about exploring how can we fill this gap in a way that is convenient and enjoyable for people to use. Now, we've recognized for a long time the importance of this gap, and this is why we had the foundational product offering Lifelong Vitality for more than a decade, and this is a fantastic product offering. But we wanted to make this supply of micronutrients even a better experience. something that people would look forward to using each day, something that people would enjoy sharing with their loved ones and with their friends. And so we set about to do this. And you can imagine sharing how easy it is to share a product like VMG. When you can simply mix up a sachet, it's something you can share a drink of far more easily than handing someone a handful of pills, right? So we wanted to restore this experience that people can have. Remember the example of peppermint essential oil that I started with? That when you use an essential oil, you have an experience, and it's unmistakable, and you want to share that with other people. VMG is designed to be the same way. And we've demonstrated that it does deliver this type of an experience. In developing the product, we got multiple rounds of consumer feedback from thousands of different participants in the formulation process. We took samples to events and got prospective users to try the samples and give us their feedback on the flavor, the mouthfeel, the texture. And this helped us to dial in that product to be exactly what we knew it should be. Now, when you set out to build something, whether it's a building, whether it's a new product, you need to have a foundation. And with that foundation, you need to have core structural supports. Support beams, load-bearing walls, trusses for the ceiling. These are the important pieces of a building. And a product like VMG also needs these foundational components. And so we set out to build this product with 5 core structural components, these 5 unique blends. And I'll describe what makes each of these blends unique in just a moment. But we have the nutrition blend, which is supplying our vitamins and minerals from botanical sources. We have our cellular support blend, which provides the antioxidants that are so crucial for protecting our cells against free radicals. We have the superfood blend. We have all heard our mothers tell us that we need to consume more fruits and vegetables. And the superfood blend is designed to provide those phytonutrients. We also have the biotransformation blend, which is all about the transformation of botanical forms into metabolites that your body can utilize more readily. And of course, we have the bioavailability blend. Too much of nutritional science and supplement science focuses on what gets into the product without focusing on what gets into your body. And the bioavailability boosting blend is designed to make sure that the nutrients in VMG get into your body. So I'll spend a little bit of time talking about 3 of these blends in more depth to tell their story. The nutrition blend, the bioavailability blend, and the biotransformation blend. We have amla, guava, moringa, and lemon. These are superfoods that are supplying the micronutrients of VMG. These are not synthetic copies of nature. These are nature itself concentrated into VMG to supply vitamin and mineral content. Now we know that these nutrients are from natural sources because we've done a very unique type of test. We've done carbon testing. Carbon testing is the gold standard test that is used to confirm whether something is of a natural origin, meaning it's a bio-based carbon, as opposed to a petroleum-based carbon, which is far older. So in this test, in this carbon dating testing, we look at the percent of modern carbon, and that tells us if it has a modern carbon percentage within the analytical error rate of plus or minus 3% of 100%, that the nutrient sources are 100% of natural origin. And with this carbon testing of the nutrient sources in VMG, we've confirmed that this truly is from botanical sources. Now, in addition to sourcing the most effective forms of nutrients from botanical sources with 330 different phytonutrient companions, we want to make sure that these nutrients can be absorbed. So we've encapsulated the nutrients in VMG into liposomes. And these liposomes have the same structure as your own cells. They're made of phospholipids. And to these phospholipids, we've added essential oils. And the essential oils and the liposomes, in combination with enzymes and probiotics, make sure that these nutrients are able to be absorbed and retained in the body. And we've demonstrated that this is not just something we can observe underneath a microscope, which you saw in this video, but we've demonstrated through blood serum studies that the nutrients truly are being absorbed into the body more efficiently, and they're being retained in the body for a longer period of time. So here we're highlighting the absorption rate of iron, a mineral that we get more than 6 times the typical iron absorption rate. I'm taking the time to highlight this because it makes the point that what's on the label of a box does not tell the whole story. It tells you what's in the product. It doesn't tell you what gets into your cells. And the bioavailability of VMG is all about making sure that the nutrients in the product get into your cells where you can make use of them. Now, one of the key components that's helping to drive this micronutrient absorption is the essential oil chemistry. This is something that is truly unique to doTERRA. We've selected these 5 oils: lemongrass, lavender, ginger, peppermint, wild orange. Like the menthol and peppermint, each of these essential oils has unique chemistry that helps to unlock pathways, to activate enzymes that increase the absorption rate of micronutrients. And we've demonstrated this in the previous slide. I showed you that iron is absorbed at more than 6 times the rate with this bioavailability blend. In addition to iron, which is a mineral, we've demonstrated the increased absorption rate of vitamin C, which is a water-soluble vitamin. We've demonstrated the increased absorption of vitamin E, a fat-soluble vitamin. This is true efficacy, and this is more of a story that you don't see on the label of a product, but this is part of the intentional design of what goes into a formula when we put a product like VMG together. So when you're visiting with people about this product, you can share some of this information that is not so obvious, but it truly makes VMG unique. Now, the biotransformation blend is a lesser understood blend. But this simple equation about plant material going through a fermentation or a biotransformation process to produce metabolites or byproducts, that's really the summary of why we've included the biotransformation blend. We take fruits and vegetables, they are subjected to fermentation by bacteria to produce byproducts such as short-chain fatty acids, butyrate, acetic acid. These are important metabolites that your body can use right away. You don't have to go through the conversion process in the gut. And this is a unique blend that demonstrates the incorporation of the latest science and technology into a product like VMG. So, does the product work? We've demonstrated that it provides these benefits of a sharper mind, better memory, more focus. It also helps the body to be stronger, more resilient, to convert fat mass to muscle mass, and to also have more vibrancy, to have better hormone regulation, to have more optimal micronutrient levels, to have better energy. These are the kinds of benefits that people are looking for when they look for a product like VMG. This is the why of the product. A product like VMG belongs at the base of the wellness chart. This is the foundation. Like a building, if you don't have a strong foundation, the rest of the building is at risk. And the rest of our health is at risk if we don't have a strong foundation of micronutrient support. So VMG was designed to supply what our modern lives strip away from us, what our convenience takes away from us. And my invitation is to give yourselves the best chance to live your most meaningful and powerful life by using a foundational product like VMG, which is designed to help you optimize your potential. Dankeschön.